All right, what is up? This is Bo King. I wanted to bring a build guide. I've had a lot of people ask questions about the build. I know a lot of people are always looking for bow builds too, so just figured I'd throw mine up. I can start by kind of showing the leaderboards of the server, just so there's a little credibility. Got over 2,200 kills, second on the server. XP top five. I don't really focus that one too much. Um, Play a decent amount of 3v3s, second on that. So definitely a great build, definitely does really well. This is on the new seasonal PvP server. So first things to go through, I guess, are the easy ones. For attributes, I like to run 200 con with the shirking heals. Getting that big resistance to the physical and elemental is definitely nice. And then all that extra HP you have is just going to help every time you proc that shirking heals. Just be healing more from that. 25 focus for the CDR. You got kind of long cooldowns on the bow, so always helps to have some CDR on there. And then obviously just the rest of it in dexterity. As far as skill tree, pretty straightforward. I've messed around with a lot of different things. I definitely have found that this is the optimum one to run. The most important thing is running evasive tactics. I don't think these two are really comparable. Definitely want to run evasive tactics over the headshot perk because you're getting empower every single time that you dodge. And on that light build, you're dodging constantly. You can see that 5-second empower at the bottom. And what's nice is you can just restack it. So easily to keep that empower going constantly. Even if you stam yourself out, you can easily recover your stam in 5 seconds. 3, 2, and you can see right before that runs out, you're basically able to keep a permanent power. So that's why I like to run that perk. So in order to do so, you do have to do kind of a weird combination to get everything, because I do think these are the 3 best abilities to run. Rain of Arrow is going to run all of the perks on Rain of Arrows for the slows and the bleeds. Top perk for headshot rens. This perk, closing in, I really like when you pop one of your abilities like triple rappies on someone under half health. Just seeing each of your abilities basically go down by a second every single time you land one of those abilities. Super nice in PvP, definitely really nice in PvE. Definitely recommend running that. These 2 abilities on this side, slow is very nice. It's not too big of a deal, but when you do start off that fight, you can either get that gap close or whatnot, clear space if they're full health. But that slow is definitely nice, really nice to have. These 2 perks are the 2 haste perks. You definitely have to run these on the bow. This is when you're swapping to the bow and dodging with full stamina. Definitely have to run those 2 to keep your mobility up. And then the bottom 2 here are the increase to debuffs and then increased damage to targets with a debuff, which pretty self-explanatory on that. Right side of the tree, I like my heavies to fly faster and deal more damage because I heavy attack a lot. They kind of feel hit scan when you run this perk on them. Then obviously when you keep your distance, you're just going to be dealing more damage. So always like those flat damage buffs. Dealing 15% with finishing shot. That's just pairing well with your executes. I'm running an emerald as well, so works really well with that. The triple rappies, you don't need to run the perks on them because it's not really worth it to me when you have limited perks. They can be nice if you're running PvE in like a dungeon because it's really easy to land all 3 of those shots and get it all back. But in PvP, it's rare that you even fire all 3 off. I often fire 2 or 1 and then have to kind of roll out, and you just use it for a quick 1 or 2 attacks right there. The third animation definitely takes the longest and you can't dodge out of it, so can kind of leave you stagnant there. So does great. You definitely want to run the weapon perk with it, but as far as the skill tree, you don't need those perks. Definitely like arrow range, just makes it so when you shoot long ways, if you're shooting long range, your arrows aren't just dropping off like a complete dip once they hit that range. So I like this, just makes you able to be more dangerous at long range. And then finally, running explosive shot with all of the perks on there, getting that 170% weapon damage is super nice because as long as you land that shot, you're getting that increased buff, and it's a lot of damage. So definitely like running that. Then as far as the actual build goes, full shirking heal set. So on this one, I'm running the empowering explosive arrow perk because after you land that explosive arrow, which is obviously core part of the hit, getting that 21% buff on an ability is really nice. Whether it's the first shot of your triple rappies, whether it's a heavy attack, anything like that, it's super nice. Chest piece running the evade perk because with the rapier, that's just a very nice damage buff. So definitely think that that's an important perk to run if you're running Rapier. Only piece that doesn't have Shrinking Heals is the Hoplite Gauntlets. 725 though, and I'm running the penetrating rapid shot, which definitely recommend as well. I think it's pretty necessary with how often you pop that and just get strict armor penetration on every shot. So super nice. And then obviously the stock perks, Enchanted Ward, Refreshing. Pants, probably my favorite piece. Those are going to be a Magnify with triple shirking. So got the fortification, shirking heals, and shirking energy. So those dodges are very nice. They pair very well with the tumblers running all these perks. And I can definitely feel that when I get that dodge off proccing all three of those. Really nice in those fights. And then obviously running the shirking heals, you got to run tumblers and run the shirking heals on those as well to get that double proc on those boots. So that's it for the gear set. As far as the rune glass, it's just all sighted rune glass to increase the damage of the bow. And then as you can see, a couple emeralds, a couple malachites, and opal. Pretty basic spread. As far as jewelry, I need to upgrade my earring, but this does have the 3 perks that I think are the best. Healthy Toast, Refreshing Toast, Nimble. That just lets you drink those mana pots, reduces cooldown on both pots, and then obviously you're rolling constantly, dodging constantly, playing around that. So that stam regenerate I think is very valuable to have. The ring, I finally did get a champion's ring off the PvP track. It took me to level 124 to get one of these, so it definitely took me a long time. But this ring, definitely the best ring to be running the highest damage output, better than that Gorgon ring because you can trade bloodletting for that invigorated punishment, which definitely ends up being a very large damage buff. So definitely recommend if you see this on your PvP track, do not skip it and grab it and customize it to your build. But I just have the thrust damage and hardy because strictly dealing thrust damage with my bow and rapier, so that's a direct buff to those. And then obviously the invigorated punishment, also just a direct buff with those abilities dealing extra damage. And finally, the other necessary piece if you are running that Shirking Heals build is Ankh. Got the buff to every single one of those procs, so it's so nice to have this. Pairing with the Center of Attention, Divine, the Health, it's basically every perk on there is just there to help it. And then I put Shirking Empower on there because I was just wanting to be more dangerous and deal more damage, and I didn't feel that I really needed a protection perk, but you definitely wouldn't be wrong to throw on a flame protection, slash protection, thrust protection, anything like that. But I was trying to maximize my damage with this build and did feel comfortable not running that protection perk. And as far as gems, I switch these a lot. Sometimes I see a lot of Void Blades, so I'm throwing on the Amethyst, a lot of Fire Staffs. But this is kind of an even spread that I like running right now because I feel like the Fire Staff and Void Gauntlet are definitely good things to index into. And as you can see, I'm definitely not running any of the main physical gems like Moonstones, Onyxes, because I'm trying to just minimize the time I'm even in combat with any melees. So I definitely like indexing more into the elemental damage. The Amethyst also helps with people that are running the Void Bow and Void Musket. You're getting that resistance on that split damage, so I like that as well. Heart Rune, I've just been running the Spit because it's very nice to have all that extra heal cut. Heal cut's one of the most OP things in the game. So I definitely like playing around that. Like using the vines, the cannon, but I do think Spit is the best just because of the actual slow and heal cut, and just makes people really vulnerable for a finish on them. Then finally, we get to the weapons. I'm running the Finisher. I think the Finisher is great to run because of that 15% buff you get on both weapons with the bleed. Really easy to just keep a bleed on them constantly when you're running, Keenly Jagged, Rain of Arrows, all of those things. It's really easy to keep them bleeding. So on here, I put Played Crits because, again, like I mentioned, that heal cut is so strong. So I definitely would recommend running that on there just so you can get some extra heal cut because that's always beneficial in every single fight with people constantly healing. And as far as the bow, just threw an attunement on there. There's not too many good perks you can really put on here besides the attunement, which is just some extra damage. I probably would recommend running a different attunement that's not one of the common elements. I just had this on here when I previously had it as a Void Bow build. But I would probably recommend running something like Nature or something like that that's less common than the Fire and the Void. Those are definitely the two most common. But Ice, Nature, something like that would probably be a good attunement that people will have less resistances to. But yeah, Sighted, Rune Glass, Emerald, add to that 13% damage and extra healing. Just, again, pairs well with a lot of other perks on that bow tree to execute people under half health and increase that damage. And I guess the last thing is just my hotbar. Pretty standard mana pot, health pots, the gemstone dust, and the oak flesh. Pretty straightforward. You don't need the hearty meals in your hotbar anymore because you don't get that 20-second buff anymore. They just last the full duration, so you can just pop one for 40 minutes or whatever it is, and then you're definitely all good. But yeah, this has been my bow build. I guess the only other thing is rapier abilities, but that's kind of self-explanatory with the finisher. But evade, Tondo, flourishing finish, pretty straightforward there. So yeah, if there's any questions, let me know. But this has been Bo King. Hope you enjoyed the build video. I'm out.